Actor Cody Walker, one of the surviving brothers of Paul Walker, who filled in for Paul in some of his uncompleted scenes in Fast and Furious 7, has signed on to star alongside Nicolas Cage in the upcoming film USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage. According to Variety, the film, which is based on the true story, follows Cage, who plays the role of Captain Charles Butler McVay, whose ship was torpedoed in the South Pacific in July of 1945 after delivering parts for the first atomic bombs. Their mission was classified, so the Indianapolis was not reported missing until 4 days later. Of 1,196 crewmen aboard, approximately 300 went down with the ship, while the rest faced exposure, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks as they waited for assistance. Only 317 sailors survived. John Byers sell the sounds of USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage.
I have been wanting to see a movie on this story ever since Jaws. And I was just a child when Jaws came out, and even then, I went that story made so famous by the three guys sitting around in the boat, and he's telling the story of that ship and what happened to those guys. I've been wanting to see that movie. Not so thrilled with who I'm hearing getting casting at this point, especially in what we're led to believe are significant roles. But because of the story itself, I am still going to buy it. I want to see this story told on screen. Would I prefer it if, Christopher Nolan was helming this and it was good? Yeah, I would. But you know what? This is a story I've been waiting for a long time to see told as a motion picture. So on that basis alone, I'm going to buy it. Christian?
I'm going to buy Nicolas Cage's hairpiece. That's amazing. Look at that thing. The death of Nicolas Cage's hair. What happened? I think that it's a buy for me. What's interesting, I agree with you. I wanted to see this story for a long time. Robert Downey Jr. was interested in this thing. His company was interested in doing this for a very long time. Wow. That would have been interesting. I would have liked to have seen that. Nicolas Cage always scares me. Not scaring me in the fact that I'm terribly entertained to watch whatever he does. More times than not, it's been cartoony lately. His performances. But if you look at a movie, even though the movie wasn't that great, Joe, he was great. That was Nicolas Cage coming to act. So maybe if he shows up in this one, now in regards to Cody Walker, don't know enough about him. It's nice to see that he's getting out there and he's doing some stuff, and maybe this is a role that he wins us over, and you go, wait a minute, this dude, he's got the chops, and this is a great story to do it. But I agree with you, John. It's like, I think that it's a matter of what team we have, but this is a good enough story that I want to see it come to the screen.
Oh, Nicolas Cage is coming to play, baby. This is the start of the
Get away from the sharks.
I mean, this. What if we had a shared universe with Jaws where Nicolas Cage was the Robert Shaw character? Yeah. You can clearly see Nicolas Cage 30 years later turning into the nutcase sailor that scratches his fingernails on the chalkboard. I mean, this is it.
At this point, he'd want to play the shark.
I would let him. It's Nicolas Cage. Take off the hairpiece. You look better without it. I actually had the honor in the late 90s. I met a survivor of the USS Indianapolis, and I was shaking. I've never been more nervous to talk to anybody in my entire life. To meet a hero like that, to see this story finally on screen, I hope they do it right, because there's a whole backstory with a lot of the people that did survive that ship. So I hope that they can tell that story in its entirety, but to portray that on screen, exactly what these brave men went through for 4 days when nobody even knew they were lost. It's an incredible thing. Like, I don't know enough about Cody Walker. I was watching Fast 7. I was like, oh, this guy, I thought it was Paul Walker the whole time, so I had no idea. So I don't know what he can pull off, but if he's he looks able-bodied like a sailor, so I'll give him the credit. Nicolas Cage is coming to play. The Nakajassance starts now.
The funny thing about Nicolas Cage is that he has still, even in recent years, shown flashes of the brilliance that we know he is capable of. Like, we all overlook what he did in Kick-Ass, but what he did with Big Daddy and Kick-Ass took a heavy hitter actor to be able to do. He infused so much passion and personality into that guy that we all walked away from Kick-Ass thinking Big Daddy. Also, the Werner Herzog film Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. He was brilliant in that film. That was just a few years ago. So it's like every once in a while, Nicolas Cage decides he cares, and then he turns in he's a 2-time Academy Award winner, if I am not mistaken.
He nominated?
Multiple nominated. He's got at least one trophy on his mantle. Every once in a while, Nicolas Cage decides to show up, and maybe for a story like this, we'll get that. We can just cross our fingers and hope.